Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You know, I love it when you send in stuff that really gets me thinking. And this time we're tackling an article called Why Yuval Noah Harari's AI Doomsday Prophecies Are Misleading.
Yeah, this should be interesting.
Right, because Harari's kind of a big deal with this whole, future of humanity thing. So to see someone directly challenge his AI predictions, well, that's right up our alley. But before we get into all that, for those who haven't read the article, can you give us a rundown of what's got Harari so riled up about AI?
Well, in a nutshell, Harari's main concern is the sheer speed of AI development. He believes it's happening much faster than we can adapt to, and that's what's got him worried about the future.
Okay, so faster than we can adapt. What does that actually look like? What are the specific consequences he's outlining?
He paints some pretty scary pictures, if I'm being honest. One of his biggest worries is the potential for societal collapse. Basically, our institutions and systems failing to keep pace with AI advancements.
So it's not just that the robots are coming, it's that they'll be here before we've even figured out the rules of the game.
Exactly, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. He also talks about widespread job displacement, with AI taking over roles traditionally held by humans.
Right, the whole robot stealing our jobs scenario. That's been a recurring fear for a while now. But this article we're discussing seems to think Harari might be getting a little ahead of himself.
It does. He isn't dismissive of Harari's concerns entirely, but he points out a crucial flaw in his reasoning, especially when it comes to those neural networks we keep hearing about.
Okay, break that down for me a bit. What's the key difference that Harari might be missing when it comes to neural networks?
Sure, so Harari seems to assume that artificial neural networks are essentially on par with the human brain, just operating on a faster timescale.
And are they?
Not according to our author Lim. He actually uses this really compelling analogy in the article. He says that comparing an artificial neuron to a biological neuron is like comparing a single grain of sand to the entire Sahara Desert.
Wow, okay. That's quite the visual. It really highlights the sheer scale of complexity we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful way to illustrate the point. So while AI might excel at processing information at lightning speeds, it's simply not on the same level as the human brain when it comes to complexity and sophistication.
So it's like you can give a computer all the data in the world, but it doesn't necessarily mean it can understand or interpret it in the same way that a human can.
Exactly. And that's a distinction that Lim stresses throughout the article. He even prefers using the term alternative intelligence instead of artificial intelligence to emphasize this difference.
Alternative intelligence.
I
like
like
that. It suggests a different approach to thinking and problem solving rather than a direct replacement for human intelligence.
You got it. And that shift in perspective is crucial to understanding Lim's argument. He wants us to see AI not as a threat to our existence, but as a tool, one with its own strengths and limitations.
So what I'm hearing is that it's not so much about AI outsmarting us, but more about understanding how it's different and how those differences might play out in the future.
Right, exactly. And Lim makes another interesting point about this, actually. He brings up Harari's personal relationship with technology.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, he mentions that Harari himself doesn't even use a smartphone.
You're kidding. That's wild, considering how much he writes about technology and its impact.
I know, right? And it kind of makes you wonder, if someone's so wary of AI, yet they don't even use the technology that most of us interact with every day, does that color their perspective?
It's like writing a critique of modern art without ever actually visiting a museum, You can have your theories, but there's a difference between that and experiencing something firsthand.
That's a great analogy. And I think it highlights the value of Lim's perspective. As someone who's actually working with AI, he brings this real-world experience to the table.
So it's not just philosophical musings. It's about understanding the practical implications of this technology.
Exactly. And while Lim acknowledges the potential risks, he's also careful not to fall into the trap of fear-mongering. He emphasizes the importance of informed engagement with AI.
That's refreshing. It's so easy to get caught up in the hype and fear. So hearing a more balanced perspective is always helpful.
Absolutely. And that's what Lim is advocating for, a balanced approach. He wants us to be aware of the potential downsides, but also open to the possibilities that AI offers.
So what I'm gathering is that it's not about sticking our heads in the sand and pretending like AI isn't happening, but also not panicking and assuming the worst.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, not reactive.
So then how do we do that? How do we engage with AI in a way that's both informed and productive?
Well, for starters, we need to move beyond the fear and start asking the right questions. What are the potential benefits of this technology? What are the risks? How can we mitigate those risks while still harnessing AI's power for good?
It's about steering the ship rather than letting it sail aimlessly.
Precisely. We need to be active participants in shaping the future of AI, not passive bystanders.
So if we can move past this idea of AI as an existential threat, what role does Lim envision for it in our lives?
He sees AI as a tool, one with incredible potential to augment our abilities and help us solve some of the world's most pressing problems.
It's like, instead of asking, will robots take over the world? We should be asking, how can robots help us make the world a better place?
Exactly. It's about reframing the narrative and looking at AI through a lens of possibility.
And I imagine that opens up a lot of exciting doors, especially when it comes to things like medicine, sustainability, and even exploring the universe.
Absolutely. AI has the potential to revolutionize so many aspects of our lives, but only if we approach it with a sense of informed optimism and a commitment to ethical development and use.
It's about seeing the forest for the trees, so to speak. Recognizing both the potential pitfalls and the incredible opportunities that lie ahead.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's about finding that balance between caution and curiosity and using that to guide us as we navigate this new frontier of artificial intelligence.
It's kind of like the real danger isn't some Terminator scenario,
Yeah.
but our own lack of, awareness and planning when it comes to this tech.
100%. And that's something Lim really hammers home. We can't be passive in all this. He doesn't want everyone coding AI overnight, but being informed, asking the tough questions of developers, demanding transparency, that's how we steer things right.
So less robots are going to replace us, more how do we make sure they're working with us?
Exactly. And when you think that way, a whole bunch of positive possibilities open up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm thinking about medicine, finding cures we haven't even imagined yet, or tackling climate change with AI-powered solutions.
Exactly, or even bridging those gaps between people. AI translation getting so good, it's like we all speak the same language, breaking down cultural barriers, and the potential is huge.
It really is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it that way. And it all comes back to, like you were saying, being informed and engaged, instead of just letting fear dictate the conversation.
Couldn't agree more. And that's what's been so great about this deep dive. It all started with a listener questioning a big name's take, which is exactly what we encourage.
Right. Challenging those assumptions, digging deeper. That's how we all get a little smarter, a little more prepared for whatever's coming next, AI or otherwise.
And on that note, to everyone listening, don't stop being curious. Don't just take the headlines at face value, question research, form your own opinions, because the future of AI, it's not some predetermined thing, it's what we make it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So until next time, keep those questions coming and keep on diving deep, folks.